Happy Easter, coming to you live from my hometown of Gatton today, dressed in the traditional local attire of a flanny or flano, depending on where you come from. I thought this would be the perfect time to cover off on some ways that you can stick to your macros while you're traveling, while you're on holiday, while you're on the road, or just away from home in general. So we'll get straight into it because I'm having some dinner prepared by my mum right now, which is a great thing about being back home. All right, so number one, and it's probably not what you're looking for when you're looking at this video, but it is to just accept that you won't be able to hit your macros, or you might not hit them that day, and that's fine. And we're looking for consistency over time rather than perfection. That's what's going to lead to your results over time. At least when you get to that point where you feel like you might not hit your macros when you're away, focus on at least getting your calories if you can. And if you can't reach your calorie goals, then make up for it when you come back, or just accept that you're going to have a few crappy days. That's right. Get back on board the next few days. Just don't let it affect you so much that you just go off the rails and you give up. Number two, and this is where you can actually hit your macros, is to have some non-perishable items on hand and make sure you've got separate ones for each macronutrient group. So for protein, you may have some protein bars, you may have some tuna, jerky is another good one. There's quite a few different things, or even up and goes. Up and goes, they might get warm, but you can still drink them. They're not as good as when they're cold, but they're still doable. And you even get some carbs and fats and fiber through them as well. For the carbs, you have plenty of options really. Rice cakes, corn thins, which is very similar, rice crackers, chips. You can get pretty much anything down the rice crackers aisle is going to help, even lollies. You can get some sweets, some Gatorade. Carbs, pretty much you're limitless. There's heaps of options with carbs. Fats is a little bit more limited. I would say the best shot there is probably going to be nuts. Have any type of nuts on hand. So almonds is obviously good because you get your protein there as well. But if you just want pure fats, macadamia, I believe, is quite high in fats. And you got peanuts, all the other ones as well. So nuts is probably the best one to have on hand to get your fats up for that case there. And point number three is to have some ready-made meals. I believe that these are so undervalued, and the amount of clients that have got to stick on track with their calorie goals or their macronutrients just from saying to go out and get some U-Foods or some Muscle Chef meals or any other ready-made meals. They are so handy. If you don't have a microwave while you're out on the road, then it becomes a little bit more tricky. But a lot of them, realistically, you can probably eat them cold as well. Like, it just adds a little bit when they're heated up. So, but then you got to keep them cold while you're driving along. So I'd say maybe if you have an esky, that would be awesome. Just put some ice in there and have the ready-made meals with you. But that's another good option as well. And they even have the barcode on the back, so you just scan them with MyFitnessPal, and there's all your macros laid out in front of you and all your calories laid out in front of you as well. And then the final point is, if nothing else works, you've got takeaway. There's cafes along the road, there's heaps of little takeaway shops, and you got Macca's if nothing else. If you can't find a Macca's, then you're way out in the middle of nowhere. And while they're not going to be perfect macronutrients, you can go back to that first point where at least you're going to get your calorie goals. But if you're traveling, like, if most people are probably around the Gold, well, from where I'm from, I'm in Brisbane, most people are probably around the Gold Coast or Sunshine Coast, where there's heaps of different takeaway places, where if you add them all together and you do a little bit of careful planning, you're probably still going to hit your macros. And just an extra point at the end, if you're visiting your parents, which is what I'm doing, you can raid their fridge and their cupboard, and you're going to be able to make up your macros. That's exactly what I'm doing right now. I've pretty much emptied out my, every time I go to visit them, I empty out my parents' cupboard and fridge, which I probably cost them a lot of money, and I'm a terrible son, but I went to visit them, so that's a good thing. And if you're like me, you plan things very last minute. I didn't even know I was going to come down today. Planned that very last minute, and I didn't have any food with me, so steal my parents' food until I can get some more for myself. hopefully these few points help. Much shorter episode today. And I'll be back tomorrow. If these points helped, or if you liked my other videos, subscribe, like, share, make me famous. No, I'm kidding. Just help out wherever you can. That would be awesome, because I love making these videos. I'm just going to keep doing it even if nobody watches them, because I enjoy it. All right, I'll talk to you guys soon.